What is up, everyone? This video, I'm going to debunk the errors in Golang, because there are a lot of people talking gibberish. They have no clue what you're talking about, and they're saying that the Golang error handling is tedious, it's dirty, it's nasty, and they want to change it if they could. Well, I'm going to show you that you basically have no clue what you're talking about, and that you're still in your bubble of tutorial code, weekend warrior, James at the water cooler stuff. But in the real world, guys, you need to understand, in the real world, programming is dirty. Errors are dirty. It's a dirty world for dirty people, just like me, right? But before we continue, you know what's up. You don't need to subscribe, but join the Discord community. Maybe you could give me a thumbs up. Maybe you leave a comment. I don't know. It's just to boost the algorithm. Yeah, that's it. And you can check out Patreon. That's for if you really want to be high value, right? Where we don't give a shit about errors. Okay, handling. All right, so basically, what's the problem with Golang error handling? Well, let's check, right? Because people say it's bad, but actually, it's not, right? It's actually the best, one of the best error handlings, to be honest. So let's say we have a function, we call this foo, and foo is going to return an integer, actually, two things. It's going to return an integer or an error, right? Two things. You could actually say it's the same as, for example, you return a result in another language, for example, Rust, where you have a result, then you can pattern match. And that's fine for everybody. It's the same thing. It's exactly the same. People have no clue. So basically this, right? So we're going to say in this case, we're going to return, let's say, the devil. We're going to return the devil, and we're going to return null, right? So no error in this case, right? And then say in our program, actually, to be honest, what we're going to do is we're going to copy foo. We're going to say bar. It's fine. They can be the same thing. And let's make another one. Bus, for example, right? So, for example, we have our main here, right? It's an application, it's a running process, or it's something, I don't know, a script. It doesn't really matter. And we're going to say, for example, we're going to say num. Let's do x. Let's say x. R is going to be foo, right? And then people have the problem with this. If R is not null, do some stuff here. Maybe a return, right? Maybe we want to return here. We want to handle it. Otherwise, X is available. X is free. It's free to use. It's free to use, no errors at all, right? Something like that. So what's the, actually, to be honest, let us do this for the compiler, right? What is the problem with this? Well, the problem is that, for example, to be honest, let's delete these comments, to be honest, because they make it really nasty and really hard to read. People have problem that they need to handle this error. If people see in Golang some kind of a function from a third-party library that returns an error, they're already, oh no, I need to handle the error. And they think it's bad. Because you can already see that if we have a y, right, it's also going to be an error, and that's going to be bar, right? It's going to be the same, shenanigans, and it's going to be tedious, right? Because all your code will look like this, right? It will be an if add is not nil thing. But what do you expect? What do you want? If you think try catch is better, then I think you're already dead inside and you're not realizing it, right? That's complete garbage, right? Let us be honest. Is returning a result better than, right? What's the difference, right? What's the difference if we have foo and foo returns a result, and instead of doing this error handling, we could do something like match, for example, match results, where we have the same shenanigans. Case R, we do this. Case nothing, a none or something, I don't know how it all, something like this. We have a block. This is the same shenanigans. It's even more nasty. You know what I mean? It's even, maybe you guys feel dopamine by handling an error like that, but for readability, for control flow, the flow of your program, it's even worse, right? And if you don't believe that, I don't know, then I'm so sorry about that. Like I said, I wrote a lot of programming language, and I've probably have 10 times the hours already that you will ever receive in your whole life from coding. So I've been everywhere, right? In every deep hole of the programming shenanigans, right? So let us investigate this foo, right? So let's say we have a program, a program needs to be robust. Because that's the problem, right? If you want to make robust, fault tolerant is basically a big concept, right? But if you want to make robust programs, you need to have errors. You need to have something like this because you want to handle them, right? You want to explicitly, that's what Golang does. Golang is very verbose because it wants you to do certain things at certain ways because they are important, if you know what I mean, right? If a function does not return an error, it's probably not an important function, right? It can fail or it can never fail. It will not affect your program, right? It is a pure function. It will basically spit something out if it's the correct value that we don't know, but it will not cause a critical state where your program cannot continue, right? So foo is returning an error here. What do you want to expect, right? Let's actually, to be honest, guys, I'm going to give you an example, right? I'm going to give you an example here. So let's say we have a program and we have a function user farted, right? And there is an error. The user just farted. Actually, to be honest, just farted, right? We're handling an API, for example, and we see that the user just farted, right? And there is an error. Do we care about user just farted in your application? Because you're the Bob Ross, you're the painter. Do you care? That's very important. Do you care? Can the program continue? Or do you need to handle the program? Do you need to handle that the user just farted? Maybe you want to handle it because you want to sprinkle some flowers to muck the smell, right? Or maybe you don't care. In my opinion, in my application, user just farted. I don't care. Because he just farted, right? He can just do it, and whatever happens, happens. It smells a little bit, but it's for a short period of time. I don't care. My application can still run, right? But if you have a function, func, user just shit their pants, right? User just shit their pants. That's problematic. That's problematic. Let's return. I'm going to return null here. It doesn't really matter, right? It's just. In this case, if the user just shit their pants, that's problematic because I want to handle that. Why? Because if the user just shit their pants, we want to change the diapers. That's what we're going to do, right? So we're going to make a function, change diapers. How do you write diapers? Something like diapers, like this? I don't know. I don't care, right? It doesn't matter. Change diapers. Voilà. Just like that. So if there is an error that the user just shit their pants and the error is not null, that basically means it's you could see it like you catch your error immediately, right? Normally you're basically used to a try catch statement where you try this and later on you're going to catch the error and yada yada yada. It's now you're going to explicitly handle this error right now at this moment of time, and you're going to do nothing else and handle this error, right? If there is an error here, we need to catch it. Because why? Because we are gonna change diapers. It is what it is, right? But user just farted, we don't care, right? And that's why you can actually mug these errors, right? If you have double returns here with just farted, for example, it's gonna return maybe an integer like the smelling grade, right? The higher the integer, the higher the smell is gonna be. And we're gonna say 10 or something. Maybe it's the highest grade, so maybe we should handle the error in that case. For example, we're going to say smell. Smell error is usually just farted. And actually, you don't care about this error, right? Then you can just mug it out. You're not going to handle the error. Maybe you actually don't care about the smell either, right? You know what I mean? It's up to you, right? But I think the way you need to see that the way Golang handles the way Golang forces you to handle the errors is actually beneficial for you because everything keeps on the left side, right? Because like we mentioned before, let's copy this function real quick. I'm gonna paste it in. This may be a very weird video, but yeah. Sometimes, hey, it's the same thing here. Like if r is going to be bar, right? And the error is not nil. We need to handle this here, right? What else are you going to do, guys? Think about this. What else do you want to happen here? Don't you want to do if error is not nil? What are you going to do? How are you going to check the error? Right? You're going to unwrap it? Or maybe you're going to unwrap the error and just let it panic or something? Because that's what you do in other languages, right? But you don't realize that, right? You don't realize it. In all your tutorial code, you don't realize it, right? Because they don't want you to handle these errors, right? You have a result. You're going to do a pattern match, and it doesn't look like handling an error because you're doing a fancy pattern match based on the result or something. You know what I mean? Or an option or something, whatever it is. You know what I mean? And then you could say, yeah, but there are some people, and you say, yeah, but Golang is terrible at propagating the error. That's not true. Because in your language, they use, in other languages, they use something just like this, right? For example, we have func foo. An error here, right? Just like this, we're going to return nil. This is all on the top of my head, guys. It's not prepared or anything, so I'm sorry that it doesn't make any sense. Right, so we have foo, right? And for example, we need to call foo here, right? So what we're going to do is very simple. We could do, if we need to do foo alone, we could just return foo here, right? Very clean. It's very clean to return foo here. Why? Because foo returns an error and bar returns an error, and it's all good, and it's super easy, and it's super easy to understand. I don't even understand why some languages don't want you to use return. I think it's a very important statement. Return, very, very, very important. In Rust, most of the time, if you do it, you can do return, but people on the community, they're going to say, you don't need to do return, please remove return, please shut the fuck up. Return is important, it's readable. Return instantly drags your eyes in a certain way, and your brain instantly knows that the function is going to return. You know what I mean? I cannot explain this. I cannot explain this how it feels, but I think a lot of experienced programmers programming for a very long time will know that the return is super important, and that there are communities exist that you don't need, that they don't want you to use the return statement. That blows my mind. But anyway, for example, in this bar, you want to handle a foo first, right? So you could say if foo, right? Like this. Wait. If r, right? If foo returns an error and the error is not null, that's what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do is return error. That's how you propagate it. Okay. There are some languages, for example, Rust. I think you could do something with a question mark where you don't need to do this, for example, right? Something like that. And do all this stuff. But this is bad. This is really bad. Why? I'm not, guys, before you pitchfork, I'm not quite sure if this question mark is a correct thing, but I think in TypeScript there's something similar, right? But this is bad because are you not going to handle foo? What if you want to handle foo? Who can read this, right? Who can read this? Nobody can read this. Nobody has a clue what this question mark is going to do if you're not programming in this language 24 hours, 24/7, if you know what I mean. Everybody can understand that if there is an error in foo and the error is not null, we either going to handle the stuff here and return, we're either going to handle it here and do not return it, or we're going to propagate it and we're going to just return the error, right? Okay, this is not a one-liner, but this is verbose. This is clear. It's readable by any human on the fucking planet, if you know what I mean. And that's important. That's a language design. That's a choice. That's a language design choice they made. And look at this. I'm going to eat a little thing of my protein, by the way. Because every video I need to waste a little bit of your time, right? I'm training you guys to have a longer attention span. So, I don't understand. You could return null or something. I think this is super clean. It keeps your code on the left. It keeps your code very readable. It keeps a nice, clear flow in your application. Because I can understand that in this function, and you have a couple of these things, right? For example, you have this, and then you have this, and then people want to make a helper function for it just to save 2 lines. these aesthetic, guys, programming is not about rainbows, pink colors, flowers, and potpourri. You know what I mean? It's not about that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Programming is about how explicit, how clear can you write your ideas, your concepts on the screen that's readable for a lot of people. And that's important in the open source community. And that's also important in big companies, right? That's why Google invented it. That's why a lot of other companies using it, because you cannot do a lot of things wrong in Golang because there is only one way to do certain things. So it's very easy. It's a uniform way of doing things, a very explicit way. So it's very easy to read. It's very easy to do pull request reviews and all that stuff, right? Code reviews and all that shenanigans. If you think this is bad, well, hey, it doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is that you handle this error clearly, easily, so you can prevent your application to go into a corrupt state, into going off track. You can prevent that the user just shit their pants. You're going to quickly change the diapers. And then we're going to continue and everything is fine, right? No smell. No problems. There is nothing else more to say. I'm still getting triggered by people saying that it's bad, that it's just a bad design. It's not. It looks a little bit. It's not that ecstatic because I know you want to go Ruby and TypeScript and all these fancy stuff. You guys, like I said before, once you go into very complicated programs where you make 200K in a year, you're gonna talk differently, right? Maybe we're gonna talk in 10 years, right? When you guys will grow up and have a lot of experience, then we're gonna sit again smoking these cigars, sipping the margaritas on the beach, and then we're gonna laugh about all these bad concepts that they are basically trying to tell us on the internet, on YouTube and everything, right? On these, I call it to-do tutorials and weekend warrior stuff. But anyway, it's very important. If you care about actually handling your errors at the moment they occur, because you want to make robust programs, then this is the way to go. If you like to have the same approach like just Rust do, where you just pattern match, it's just the same shenanigans. It's just more. It's difficult. It's more syntactic sugar. It's in my opinion difficult to read. But it is what it is. There are always people that are advocating a certain language, right? I'm also not biased about Golang. I don't care. The moment there is a new language on the market that basically is getting used, is getting maintained, is stable, that has the same syntax-ish as Golang, I'm going to use that language and leave Go in the trash can because I don't literally care about this language. I really don't like it, Golang, to be honest, in a lot of ways. But for me, for my purpose, for what I am trying to do, for what people are paying me to do, is a lot of distributed stuff, high concurrent environment. Golang is one of the best languages. Hey, this is what it is. I don't care, right? If you don't agree with me, I'm telling you my idea, right? My narrative. All right. I hope this is like a weird video, but sometimes these videos are nice, right? So basically, thanks for watching, and don't forget you don't need to subscribe. You don't need to, right? Just give me a thumbs up. Jump into my Discord. Check my Patreon, right?